WWL Louisiana News at 10 starts now.
Well, tonight, hundreds of UMC nurses began casting their vote, deciding whether or not they'll go on strike. Good evening and thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Sharice Gibson.
And I'm Devin Bartolotta. The nurses union has been in negotiations with the hospital for months, but they say demands have not been met. If the majority vote for a strike, they will walk out later this month.
So what does this mean for patients in the meantime? Lily Cummings explains.
To strike or not to strike, nurses at University Medical Center are casting their vote.
If it comes to that, yes.
You're prepared to strike?
Prepared to strike.
The nurses made history last year, becoming the first hospital in the state to unionize.
It was a second line, Mardi Gras, and Christmas all rolled up into one.
Since March, Haley Dupree has been one of the nurses at the negotiation table.
One of our biggest obstacles is just having the hospital be present and actually coming to negotiations. We had one day where they walked out and never came back in the rest of the day.
UMC said in a statement that it's committed to the negotiation process, but these nurses say demands have not been met.
We've reached agreements on jury duty leave. We're working on bereavement leave, but it's really like our staffing ratios, our pay proposal. We're still waiting to hear back some kind of productive counter proposals from them.
Nurses will vote here at UMC Friday and Saturday and announce the results on Monday.
If they get enough votes, they will have the authorization to call a strike. But first, they are required to give UMC a 10-day notice. The hospital says in that case, UMC has contingency plans in place to ensure ongoing access to care.
So that gives them time to transport out patients who might be more critically ill, to cancel elective procedures, and to even get other staff in who are willing to cross the picket line to come and work.
Dupree says that right now the union consists of roughly 600 nurses, and this RN says what they're fighting for will lead to better care for patients.
It needs to happen for the health care of the community.
Lily Cummings, WWL Louisiana.
And UMC stressed that at this time no nurses are on strike and the hospital is open and fully operational.
A heads up tonight, a boil water advisory is in effect for the West Bank of Orleans Parish. In other words, all of Algiers and English Turn. Officials say they were performing a routine power swap when there was a momentary issue that caused pressure to drop. Take a look at the map on your screen here. The water tower on the West Bank is also down right now. That's undergoing maintenance, which would have helped keep the pressure up and likely would have prevented an advisory from being issued.
And so we dropped below 20 psi for about 2 minutes. We're able to bring an emergency pump back online, but no matter how long or short we're below 20 psi, we do need to be able to issue that boil water advisory, advise our customers, and make sure we keep folks informed and safe.
We're told they do these power swaps because of the age of the equipment, and the switch prevents each one from getting overused. But they say the new power station being built will reduce the number of times this needs to be done. Again, look at this. This is the area under the advisory. That is all of Algiers and English Turn. Testing is currently underway. We will let you know when this advisory is lifted.
Meanwhile, the Sewage and Water Board has launched the city's first ever water service line material inventory. Now that will help determine lead pipes that need to be replaced and removed over the next 10 years. Lead is a metal that can harm your health, and it's particularly toxic for brain development in children. The utility will soon begin removing as many as 300 water lines leading to schools and daycare centers, but that is only a fraction of the lead pipes in the city. Customers can now search a map on the website to check whether their water lines are lead, non-lead, galvanized, or unknown.
You can either enter your address or actually zoom in and click on your house, and it will tell you exactly what that material is. Obviously, if it's lead, that's the top priority for us in terms of replacing those.
The Sewage and Water Board has already secured $86 million from the EPA's Safe Drinking Water Program to begin the lead pipe replacement program. Today marks 5 years since the Hard Rock Hotel collapsed in downtown New Orleans. killing 3 construction workers. A WWL TV investigation found a key material supplier of the construction project tried to warn builders that more steel supports were needed before the collapse, but they were never added. The bodies of 2 men would remain in the debris for 10 months, and it was a year and a half before that site was cleared completely.
Hurricane Milton is now blamed for at least 16 deaths in Florida.
While more than 1,600 people have been rescued from flooded and damaged neighborhoods, and just under 2 million are still without power.
CBS's Steve McGarry has more on recovery efforts from Tampa.
Okay. You gotta come over here to the stairs?
Near Tampa, sheriff's deputies sprang into action to rescue a family, including their dogs, after Hurricane Milton flooded their home. While nearby, a team rescued this 91-year-old woman. Across Florida, line workers are doing crucial repairs for more than 2 million Floridians who still lacked power on Friday. Mia Watson of Palm Beach Gardens on Florida's East Coast is one of them.
This is ridiculous. We need power out here. We need help out here.
This deadly storm brought torrential rains, destructive winds, and tornadoes to the Sunshine State. President Biden, who is visiting the storm zone on Sunday, vowed that federal help won't let up anytime soon.
I want everyone in the impacted areas to know we're going to do everything we can to help you pick back up the pieces and get back to where you were.
For some Tampa residents, the swamp of storm water and overflowing sewage now contaminates their homes. This is the dream home Isabella McGovern's family has been saving years for. They purchased it 2 days before Helene hit.
It's almost like you could still smell the water.
When we walked in here this morning, it was all gray. You couldn't see a thing of wood.
This Vero Beach family took cover in the bathroom as a twister tore through their neighborhood.
Even with the hurricanes, like it's never been this bad.
Milton also brought a wave of deadly tornadoes to St. Lucie County in the span of 20 minutes. Steve Magiri, CBS News, Tampa, Florida.
When disasters strike, you'll often hear about the Cajun Navy, but a lot of groups are unrelated to each other and they use that name. The first group to call itself the Cajun Navy was not an official organization. Former State Senator Nick Gautreaux of the Lafayette area saw how many people needed to be rescued during Katrina. He asked news stations to put out a message to anyone with a boat, and hundreds of people showed up. Then during the floods of 2016, others organized into more formal groups using the name Cajun Navy.
I wish them well. I just hope that they keep the name up and make sure they know what the original premise of the Cajun Navy was. The original premise of the Cajun Navy was a group of citizens coming together to rescue, save, and more importantly, help their fellow man.
The United Cajun Navy, Cajun Navy 2016, and Cajun Navy Relief are all registered 501c3 nonprofits. That means any donations to them are tax deductible, and the three groups are not affiliated with one another.
Today, Ohio Senator and Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance was in town. We spotted his motorcade stopping traffic on Poydras at Loyola before noon today. Our partners at NOLA.com report former shipbuilder Boise Bollinger and business owner and longtime Republican fundraiser Joe Cannizzaro sponsored the private fundraiser. And we are now just 1 week away from the start of early voting here in Louisiana. And today, former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris focused on the race. Trump visited Colorado to talk about migrant crime, while Harris was in the battleground state of Arizona to shore up support with Hispanic voters. And a reminder, Tuesday is the last day to register to vote online. Again, early voting will kick off on the 18th. Election day is, of course, November 5th.
Coming up, there are lots of festivals going into this weekend. We're going to take a look at those, and meteorologist Brooke Glazier will give us a look at the forecast when we come back.